We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man will go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queens.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Let me set this up so I can watch it on my phone also. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay. All right, so let's get into it, beloveds. Let's get into it. Okay, so hello, Panther Strike. All right, Federal Officer Carol Banks is in the house. All right, above all that drama, let's get into it, Claudette. Okay, shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. All right, we have a bit to cover, so we're going to get into it because I don't want to be here all night. All right, so Trump is out here doing stuff, you know, just doing crazy stuff as per usual. Hey, D Major Scaling, Hadassah is in the house. All right, let's get into it. Now, before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Evision is here, okay? All right, Nubian Cutie, I see you, beloved. Shout out to all my loyal worlds and everyone tuned into the Queen. Big shout out to my moderators. Okay, so here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells a beard oil for men as well. So with that all being said,
Let's get into it, honey, because you all remember a couple of months or so ago when I reported to you all how Trump was sitting up there just lying when they said that they had found that there was a letter that he sent Epstein with doodling on it of a woman's nude body, remember? And they said he sent it to Epstein for his 50th birthday. And so Trump came out and said that he never doodled, he never did art, he never sent Jeffrey Epstein anything, he didn't even like the guy, he wasn't a fan. Remember, he said all these things. And then he even threatened to sue the Wall Street Journal for publishing such a story that he said was all lies. You all remember that, right? Well, I'm so glad you do, because now guess what? Now it has come to the Queen's attention that breaking news, the Epstein estate has released, some filings and to the House Oversight Committee. And one of those things released was that picture that he sent Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday. The one he said he never knew anything about, didn't do it, doesn't doodle, would never send it, not a fan. This is all more of Trump's lies just coming on earth. House Democrats released lewd birthday message Trump allegedly sent to Jeffrey Epstein. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Taylor Budowich posted on X that the note should help Trump's case because it's not his signature, he says. Okay, yeah, I don't think so, Trump. I don't think anybody's falling for it. They have the picture and everything. And let's get into it. He said this is going to help his case because it's not his signature. Trump, sit down somewhere. Okay, and anybody trying to cape for him, please have several seats at this point.
A House panel investigating deceased sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein has received a key document today, according to House Democrats.
That document is a copy of the so-called birthday book. It's expected to be redacted. It was compiled by convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell for Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003. You may recall the Wall Street Journal reported over the summer this book included a crude card from President Trump. The president has denied writing this card and has sued the newspaper. We've reached out to the White House for comment, but have not yet heard back. NBC News does not have this letter. So let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona and NBC News national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter. Melanie, we'll start with you in Washington. Walk us through what we know about these new documents and what comes next.
Yeah, so the House Oversight Committee did confirm that they received a wide range of documents from the Epstein estate. They had issued a subpoena for those documents. And according to a spokesperson for the committee, they received the following: the birthday book that you mentioned that was compiled for Epstein's 50th birthday by Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's last will and testament before he died by suicide in prison, the 2007 non-prosecution agreement that was made back before he was initially tried for his crimes, entries from address and context books that belonged to Epstein, and then information related to his known bank accounts. So this is just the first round of document production. The estate will continue to produce more documents on a rolling basis. And the committee also signaled that it does plan to make all these documents publicly available once it sorts through all of them. But I will point out the Democrats on the committee already went ahead and posted one of the entries from the birthday book that allegedly Trump made for Epstein. They posted that online. It was a rather suggestive, provocative message, something that Trump has denied he ever made. We have reached out to the White House for comment. They have not responded, but this is clearly a big development in the congressional probe for more information about the Epstein case. And we could see more later this week when staff members on both sides of the aisle are going to travel to New York to view these documents in an unredacted setting as well.
Tom, let me bring you in as well. I know you have some exclusive reporting here that two.
Did you guys see them dancing like Carlton Banks from the Fresh Prince?
Associates received large payments from Epstein back in 2018. I know NBC News is trying to get the names of those associates unsealed. What have you learned?
Right, Kate. So this goes back to 2019, and shortly after Jeffrey Epstein was indicted, federal prosecutors were making the case successfully to Judge Berman here in New York that Jeffrey Epstein should be held pending trial. They filed this document here. You can see the two black lines that are written on it. And according to federal prosecutors back in 2019, there was a payment to an individual for $100,000 $700,000 within several days of that Miami Herald, the bombshell reporting on Jeffrey Epstein being made public. And then a couple of days after that, there was a separate $250,000 payment coming from a banking institution to another individual. And according to the filings from federal prosecutors, these two Epstein had sought protection for in that MPA. And on top of that, apparently been featured prominently in the Miami Herald series. We have tried here at NBC News in a letter that I wrote to the court that was accepted by the judge to get that unredacted to definitively find out who those individuals were. You'll notice the first line is about 40 characters. That's a heck of a lot longer than most names. So is there another financial institution involved, a trust, all things that we would like to know in the normal course of our reporting.
All I know is Trump is busted again. Now, why would you keep telling these ignorant lies that people can easily debunk Trump? I have so many questions. Okay, now let's briefly see what what MSNBC has to say. Okay, they did a report on it also. I don't want to stay on this too long because I'm anxious to talk about what the Supreme Court has just said. I find it all so nefarious. Okay, but let's get into it because we need to go in on Trump as often as we can. Okay? Sitting up here just lying and still lying, even when he gets caught, he still lies. That's pathological. That's what he does.
The files from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, a Democratic spokesperson says committee Democrats are reviewing hundreds of documents handed over to the committee, and they have just released that body drawing allegedly drawn by President Trump for Epstein's 50th birthday. Here it is. The Wall Street Journal was first to report on it a few months ago, and today we're getting a first look at it. Joining us now, staff writer for The Atlantic and MSNBC political contributor Mark Leibovich, the Bulwark senior reporter Will Sommer, host of the Bulwark podcast, and an MSNBC political analyst, Tim Miller. Mark, I know you are thrilled and honored to be on the show today to get a first glimpse of this.
You know, it's happening in real time. First of all, I'm always thrilled and honored to be on the show, Katie. This is, I mean, we've had the wording on this before. We've sort of had a general sort of contours of what this is before. This is actually sort of the physical. This is actually it. We are seeing this. It's unclear whether the needle will move any more than it already has. But obviously, look, I mean, Donald Trump has said that this doesn't exist. This, what I can tell, looks like it exists. So start with that. We'll see, you know, if this propels the story any faster, any greater time than it will. Although I suspect that there will be other things that we didn't know before that are going to be coming out in the probably next few days.
Will, what about
And in that letter, they were talking about secrets that they had and all of that. I probably should let you out here a little bit more, but the bottom line is, in that letter, it wasn't just that picture that Trump called himself doodling. They also were talking about some secrets they had and whatnot. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to it. Let me go back to it, honey, so you all can hear a little bit of this, and then we're gonna move on. But yeah, some kind of secrets they had going down, honey. Probably something to do with all that trafficking. Pretty sure that's what the secrets were, in my opinion.
The story is sort of turning against the administration once again.
Yeah, I mean, I am pulling up Donald Trump's signature right now, and gosh, the D is exactly the same. I mean, I don't know. Listen, I'm not a hand.
They know darn well that's Donald Trump's signature. Like, why are they lying? Didn't I tell you all when I first reported this? I said all they have to do is call in a handwriting expert. They can absolutely tell you whether or not he signed it. And I'm pretty sure he did. Okay, Trump, please stop lying at this point.
Writing expert, but this was in the birthday book. The Wall Street Journal reports that he submitted it. Donald Trump denies it. It's just a weird thing, Tim, it's a weird hill to die on. I did not write that letter. I did not draw that picture. We all know they were friends. It's been documented that they were friends. Right. Why are they so concerned about admitting that Donald Trump sent him an image like this? It's not like no one.
Trump just lies for the hell of it. Why could he just tell the truth? And then another thing is this. That's absolutely his signature. Let me just show you all here. That's his signature. Okay? No ifs, ands, or buts. That's literally his signature. I just looked it up. Look at this. Look at this. Y'all see it? Look. That's absolutely his signature. There's no denying it. That is his signature. It's the same exact handwriting. Look at that D. Okay, Trump, please stop. Okay, please stop making a fool of yourself. Okay, that's absolutely. Now, hold on. Let me go to the image. The letter to Epstein. Oh, Trump, please just sit down somewhere. It's the same darn writing. Here it is right here. Now, let me share my screen. Why is this man sitting up here lying? Look, y'all see it? That's the same signature right there. All right, Trump, stop. Just cut it all out. Okay, let me go back to the video so we can get done watching this. The lies.
No one knows that Donald Trump himself is body.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's their instinct to lie, for starters. Was when they're presented with inconvenient information, it's easier for them to talk about the fake news and sit and blame the fake news than actually engage on the merits. On this one in particular, it is true that it's not known that Donald Trump was body, but there is this mythos that Will could talk about for sure on the right, on some on the MAGA right and the QAnon right, that Trump was like fighting against, the elite pedophile rings out there, and that he was, some warrior on the inside who was going to expose all these people. And now here he is, not only not exposing them all, but writing this note to Epstein here that is just extremely familiar, right? Like
Hold on, you guys, hold on. I'm about to drop the link for somebody. I see somebody trying to troll or talking slick. Hold on. So let me drop the link. This link is for Audra. Audra, please click the link and get up here and tell me what you got to say, because I got time today. Audra, this link is for you. Please, please click it. I'll wait for you, beloved. Audra says, you're not FBA. I knew it when you were following the Diddy trial with your two-faced ass shaking my head. Okay, well, come on up here and tell me what else you got to say. Because I have time today, Audra. There it is again, in case you missed it. There's the link. Moderators, y'all not doing a good job. Moderators, y'all are doing a terrible job for the past few days. I've been catching the trolls myself. Why do I need moderators if I am the one finding the trolls? But don't block her. Don't block her, because I just dropped the link for her to click. Come on, Audra, you got so much to say. Don't worry about who she is up at the strike. We'll see who she is when she clicks that link, because she got a whole lot to say, honey. I'm two-faced. Honey, you don't even know me. So why am I two-faced? Because I was against Diddy, then I was for Diddy. Is that what it is? Even if I were, that's my prerogative. I don't owe you anything, not even an explanation. And if you think I'm so fake, then why are you here? And yeah, at the end of the day, how are you going to tell me I'm not FBA? Just because I don't go along with your narrative. So we all think and act alike. Is that what we have to do? Is that what we have to do? Don't worry about it, above all that drama. I got it. So does it look like she's bold enough to get up here and click that link and say what the hell she got to say? Because, see, we can all talk trash in the chats and leave messy stuff in people's comment sections. But if you're really bad and about that life, you'll click that link when somebody drops it. But since Audra don't want to click that link, let's get her on up out of here. All right, let's continue, because I don't have all day.
It's one thing, it is true that famous people sometimes sign birthday cards for people or sign generic notes for people. That is not what we're seeing here. I mean, we have this drawing of what appears to be a young woman, I would say, and Donald Trump talking about how they share certain things in common, about how they have all these wonderful secrets together. I mean, it's a letter from two guys that get in trouble together and have a bromance. That's what this is. It's not some generic letter. And
okay, I'm done. I've heard enough. He said that Trump and Epstein had a bromance. Exactly. The same sort of bromance that Trump's been trying to have with Putin for years. But Putin's not falling for it. Putin's just using him like a trick bag. That's all he's doing. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. Okay? Listen. Neil said, and Audra, hey, Tisa. Y'all are something else. Listen, let me tell you guys. Moderators, if you see a troll, don't ban them. Just let me know. Okay? Just let me know, because I'm about to start dropping these links. Because y'all want to play games. I got time today. Okay? I got time today. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about it. Because here's the thing. Here is the thing, honey. The Supreme Court has come out and said that ICE can basically just come out and harass people, lock you up, racially profile. It's all based on your skin color, what you look like, the language you speak or don't speak, and all of that. Now, they'll say that that's not what they're saying. They'll actually tell you that, oh, no, we're not saying that they can, racially profile people. We're not saying that. Well, that is what you're saying. That's what I heard. Let's talk about it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here it is right here. U.S. Supreme Court backs Trump on aggressive immigration raids. Okay, so this is exactly what they're saying. So the U.S. Supreme Court again backed President Donald Trump's hardline immigration approach on Monday. Okay, letting agents proceed with Southern California raids targeting people for deportation based on their race or language. In a ruling, its liberal justices said makes Latinos fair game to be seized at any time. Now, here's the thing. You might be saying, well, Queen, you're not Latina, so why are you concerned? No, I'm not. But here's why. Because just like I told you guys from the beginning, from day one, when they had that man Abreu Garcia sent over there to El Salvador, I said, listen, we should all be paying attention because this could start happening to us. Then there was a hot mic moment, which I keep reminding you all of, where Trump said he would absolutely send American prisoners or criminals over there. Okay, with that all being said, there's already been people that have spoken out saying that they're American citizens and they were detained by ICE and had to go through hoops and all of that to get there to be properly identified. So I want you all to pay attention. Now, listen to this. The court granted a Justice Department request to put on hold a judge's order that barred agents from stopping or detaining people without reasonable suspicion, okay, that they are in the country illegally by relying on race or ethnicity, or if they speak Spanish or English with an accent, among other factors. Now, with that all being said, this was the court granted the department their request to put a hold on a judge's order that barred them from being able to do that. So what does that mean? Because here's where semantics comes into play. So they're not literally just coming out saying, oh yeah, y'all can go out there and arrest them. Y'all can go out there and detain them based on how they look or how they speak or whatever. They're not saying that specifically, but what they are saying, they're saying it indirectly because there was a judge who had barred them from having the ICE agents come out there and detain people without a reasonable suspicion. They had to have probable cause. They also had to make sure these people were illegal. Okay, they were not supposed to target anyone based on race or ethnicity or the language or an accent. None of that. The Supreme Court, well, they ruled against it. They granted them their request. That's all out the window. So if you're saying no to that, then you're saying yes to it. Okay, you're saying yes, so they can do all of those things that were banned. Okay, so California Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, denounced the court's decision in harsh terms, saying Trump's handpicked Supreme Court majority just became the grand marshal of a parade of racial terror in Los Angeles. That's what he said in a statement, alluding to the fact that Trump appointed 3 of the 6 conservative justices serving on the 9-member court. And mind you, this was a vote of 6-3. Okay, for them to grant them their request to do this. Now, the court's brief and unsigned order issued without any explanation left the judge's restrictions while a legal challenge brought by a group of Latino people caught up in the raids plays out. So Trump's administration quickly vowed to continue roving patrols. Now, the Republican president returned to office in January, promising to escalate deportations and immigration raids by masked and armed federal agents triggered street protests. This all triggered street protests in Los Angeles that led him to send military troops in June into the largest city in the most populous U.S. state. Now, the administration has all but declared that all Latinas, U.S. citizens or not, who work low-wage jobs are fair game to be seized at any time, taken away from work, and held until they provide proof of their legal status to agent satisfaction. To the agent satisfaction. So that means you could show them your license, you could show them your social security card, you could show them whatever. And if they say, oh, that don't look real to me, that looks fake, or I'm not buying it or whatever, they can still keep you there. Isn't that crazy? But let's continue. So, to the agent satisfaction, this is what Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who in 2009 became the court's first Hispanic member. She wrote a dissent joined by the court's other two liberals. Okay. They must be the three that were against it, because it was a vote 6-3. So her and the other two liberals are probably the ones that voted against. Okay. Rather than stand idly by while our constitutional freedoms are lost, I dissent. Okay, that's what Sotomayor added. Los Angeles-based U.S. District Judge Mamie Frimpong found on July the 11th that the Trump administration's actions likely violated the U.S. Constitution's Fourth Amendment. Okay, the protection against illegal searches and seizures. It absolutely does. That's common sense. Now, the judge's order applied in an area covering much of Southern California. They say this isn't about enforcing immigration laws. It's about targeting Latinos and anyone who doesn't look or sound like Stephen Miller. Remember who Stephen Miller is, Trump's advisor, the one who wrote speeches for him the first time he was in office, the wanton supremacist. Okay, who doesn't look or sound like Stephen Miller's idea of an American, including U.S. citizens and children, to deliberately harm California's families and small businesses. This is what Governor Newsom said, referring to Trump's senior aide. Trump's private police force now has a green light to come after your family, and every person is now a target. But we will continue fighting these abhorrent attacks on Californians. This is what Newsom said. Now, Miller, the architect of Trump's immigration crackdown, in May demanded that the leaders of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency ramp up deportations, setting a goal of 3,000 daily arrests. So Trump appointed U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. She called Monday's decision a massive victory, writing on social media that immigration enforcement officers can now continue carrying out roving patrols in California without judicial micromanagement. Now, the plaintiffs, including some who are U.S. citizens, filed the proposed class action lawsuit in Los Angeles federal court in July. They say individuals with brown skin are approached or pulled aside by unidentified federal agents suddenly and with a show of force and made to answer questions about who they are and where they are from. Just imagine that. You being a whole citizen and somebody coming up and just stopping you out of the blue. Individuals, okay, so anyway, they say Mohammed Tassar, an attorney at the American Civil Liberties Union of Southern California, who helps represent the plaintiffs, vowed to continue to fight the administration's racist deportation scheme, saying this decision is a devastating setback for our plaintiffs and communities who for months have been subjected to immigration stops because of color of their skin, occupation, or the language they speak. Concurring with Monday's decision, conservative Justice Brett Kavanaugh said that apparent ethnicity alone cannot furnish reasonable suspicion, but it can be a relevant factor when considered along with other salient factors. Kavanaugh added that if the officers learn that the individual they stopped is in fact a U.S. citizen or otherwise lawfully in the United States, they promptly let the individual go. Promptly? How promptly? After they've already taken you and detained you and put you in handcuffs and taken you and driven you off to somewhere like a warehouse or some type of encampment or whatever? How long and how quickly? And who wants the hassle? What if you're on your way to work and they just see you out and about and just stop you, detain you, hem you up, and you have to go through all these hoops and loops just to prove you're a citizen? This is all crazy. And I like the way Brett Kavanaugh is just acting like it's no big deal. Like, oh, well, once they find out that you're a citizen, or otherwise lawfully in the United States, they'll probably let the individual go. Like it's no big damn deal. This is all crazy. Trump's administration has repeatedly asked the Supreme Court this year to allow it to proceed with policies that lower courts have impeded after casting doubt on their legality. The court has backed up Trump in most of these cases. For instance, it has allowed Trump to deport migrants to countries other than their own without offering a chance to show harms they may face and to revoke temporary legal status previously granted by the government on humanitarian grounds to hundreds of thousands of migrants. So even people who are here because of humanitarian concerns or on humanitarian grounds and have been allowed to come here are being sent back, and in some cases not even sent to their countries of origin. How is that right? This is all crazy. Trump's immigration raids in Los Angeles and elsewhere have prompted panic in immigrant communities as well as protests and have drawn lawsuits over aggressive tactics. Trump's decision to send National Guard troops and U.S. Marines into Los Angeles in response to the protests represented an extraordinary use of military force within the United States to support civilian police operations. Newsom and local officials contested the deployment as unlawful and unnecessary. Frimpong issued the temporary restraining order, halting stops or arrests based on race, language, presence at a particular location, such as a car wash or a tow yard, or type of work to establish reasonable suspicion or illegality. Now, the San Francisco-based 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on August the 1st declined to lift Frimpong's order. Well, it's lifted now. Y'all hear that? This is all just a whole hot mess. What do y'all have to say about it? What do y'all have to say about it? I mean, listen, here's the thing. A lot of these Latinas, unfortunately for them, voted against their own best interests and voted for Trump. Remember how they were out there singing? Okay, Latinas for Trump and all that. So now I bet they sure hate it. Some of y'all black folks are going to be hating it too. Now listen to this. Decision lifts temporary order barring DHS from unlawful stop practices. Now this right here is from the ACLU. Today, the Supreme Court granted the federal government's request for a stay or a pause for a temporary restraining order prohibiting federal agencies, including the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, from continuing their unlawful actions in Los Angeles and surrounding counties. Now, the court judgment reverses the judgment from two lower courts and Vasquez Perdomo v. Noam that bars immigration agents from stopping individuals without reasonable suspicion from relying solely on 4 factors alone or in combination, including apparent race or ethnicity, speaking Spanish or English with an accent, presence in a particular location like a bus stop, car wash, or agricultural site, or the type of work a person does. So they can really, this is nothing but profiling. So they can target you based on how you look, how you speak, whether you speak English with an accent or not, whether you speak Spanish, what type of work you're doing. Like, for example, if you're out selling oranges, okay, you're outside selling fruits or something like that. So this is what they're doing. Today's unexplained order from the Supreme Court does not halt further proceedings in the case. On September 24th, the federal district court will hear arguments on whether to issue a preliminary injunction based on additional evidence of the government's unlawful tactics. In response, the following statements have been issued. They say, when ICE grabbed me, now this is what one person says, when ICE grabbed me, they never showed a warrant or explained why. I was treated like I didn't matter, locked up, cold, hungry, and without a lawyer. So all of this could happen before you can prove to them, to their satisfaction, that you're a citizen. Now that's racism with a badge. This is what Pedro Vasquez Perdomo, who's named as a plaintiff in the case, said. I joined this case because what happened to me is happening to others every day just for being brown, speaking English, or speaking Spanish, or standing on a corner looking for work. The system failed us today, but I'm not staying silent. We'll keep fighting because our lives are important. Oh, now they see how Black people feel when we talk about Black Lives Matter. But let me continue. This decision is a devastating setback for our plaintiffs and communities who for months have been subjected to immigration stops because of the color of their skin, occupation, or the language they speak. This is what Momad Tazar, senior staff attorney at the ACLU Foundation, of Southern California said, saying that in running to the Supreme Court to request this stay, the government made clear that its enforcement operation in Southern California is driven by race. We will continue fighting the administration's racist deportation scheme to ensure every person living in Southern California, regardless of race or status, is safe. Today's decision gives licenses to the Trump administration to resume racially discriminatory raids across Los Angeles, detaining people without evidence or due process simply because of the color of their skin, the language they speak, or the work they do. This is what Mark Rosenbaum, Senior Special Counsel for Strategic Litigation and Public Counsel, said. Our community has come together to confront this injustice with courage and determination, uncovering the truth and showing the nation these raids were never about public safety, but about targeting immigrants and sowing fear. This fight is not over. We will continue pressing our case in court until every person in our communities can live free from fear with their rights and dignity fully protected. Let me tell you all something. I don't know if you all are peeping this. I don't know if you all have caught on yet, but I've been telling you all this from day one. So what's going on right here, right now, is that there is a war on Black people and immigrants. Now I want you all to pay attention, because the reason Trump's going to all of these predominantly Black cities and Democrat-run cities is because he's targeting Black folk. Talking about, oh, they're born criminals, they're inherently criminals and all this stuff. Who do you think he was talking about when he was saying that? He was talking specifically about Black teens. That's who he was talking about. And now they've said that he's supposed to come out and address, what was it that I reported to you all this morning about somebody getting killed, about the Ukrainian woman that was killed by that Black guy on the rail in North Carolina? Yeah, they said Trump's supposed to come out and speak about that. And I'm really interested because he doesn't speak about a whole lot. Okay, he doesn't speak about a whole lot, but he wants to speak about that. Let's also not forget how he praised Daniel Penny when he killed that homeless man on the train, on the subway in New York. Now, I want y'all to think about that. He praised Daniel Penny for murdering that Black man who was completely harmless, just talking loud, didn't put hands on anybody, didn't do anything aggressive except for talking. He praised him and invited him for dinner. Now they're saying he's going to come out and say something about this woman, the Ukrainian refugee that got killed. Okay, so I'm interested to see what he has to say about that, because what he doesn't say is about anything positive when a Black person gets killed about some wanton supremacist. Okay, that's when he doesn't say anything. For all y'all Black folk that sit here and want to cape for Trump, y'all need to sit down somewhere. Okay, that's what y'all need to do. Audra was sitting here with her stupid self talking about, I'm not FBA. I'm not FBA because I'm talking trash about Trump. I don't have to go along with what everybody else thinks. That's what I don't have to do. Okay, with that all being said, let's continue. Now, the Supreme Court, and here's the thing. Now they're targeting these illegal immigrants with this whole ICE raids and how they're allowed to be racially profiled and all this stuff or whatever, not having to have probable cause, just running up if they see how you talk or whatever, how you look or whatever, what type of job you have. But at the same time, they're doing the same thing to Black people going to these Black communities. Okay, rounding up and bragging about how many people they're arresting. Who do you think these people are they're arresting? I'm quite sure they look like me. Okay, now some of them are criminals, but some of them that are being harassed are clearly not criminals. Did y'all ever think about that? Okay, RG Titan said Black MAGA is awfully quiet right about now. Yeah, where are y'all, Black MAGA? Y'all were doing songs, rap songs, and all that. Now they're silent, crickets. Okay. Adrian said, I like what Trump is doing on immigration. Yeah, you like it now until he snatches your behind up. Okay, I just told y'all, I don't really care about him, about too much of what Trump is doing as it pertains to getting these illegal people out of here. Because to me, you shouldn't be in this country illegal anyway. Specifically, we have stuff happening like what happened with Dakar Thompson and other things that have happened recently. But the bottom line is there's a way and a process to do things the right way and the correct way. And just taking away people's due process and their rights and freedoms is not right. That being said, they could hem up the wrong person like they have done. Not just illegal immigrants. Okay. So J0 said this is retribution for the Black Lives Matter protest. So with that all being said, could be. The Supreme Court's decision deals a devastating blow to communities reeling from the government's racially discriminatory raids. Through the stroke of a pen, through its emergency shadow docket, the court has written off decades of Fourth Amendment law. But we always knew this was going to be a long fight, and we're already preparing for what comes next. This is what Annie Lai director of the Immigrant and Racial Justice Solidarity Clinic at the UC Urban School of Law, said that our clients have faced the government with incredible bravery and will continue to do so. We will be right there alongside them. Saying today's Supreme Court ruling puts farm workers and every Californian who looks or sounds like they might be an immigrant in greater danger. Okay, this is what UFW President Teresa Romero said, saying this does not impact immigrants in a vacuum. It will affect all of us. We will continue to seek a preliminary injunction in this case, and we will keep fighting for farm workers and all immigrant communities across the USA. The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of racial profiling. A dark shadow has been cast over this country's constitution and its future. This is what Armando Guadino, executive director of Los Angeles Worker Center Network, known as LAWCN, has said, saying this is a dangerous precedent for immigrant rights and civil liberties. The decision legitimizes the unconstitutional practice of targeting individuals based on their race, language, or neighborhood. It turns back the clock on decades of legal progress and reinforces a system where some communities are seen as suspect by default. Some communities seen as suspect by default. That would be us. Okay, we always get the description, let them tell it. Now, this administration's war on immigrants is going to fail. This is what Angelica Salas, executive director of the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, says very soon we'll be back in court continuing the fight against these obviously illegal practices and policies, and we're confident that the judge will once again see, as she already saw, that there's nothing legal about ICE targeting people based on their race, how they speak, or their profession. We will continue to watch, document, and protest peacefully. What we see is lawless mass roundups and federal policy of cruelty and detention. You know, what's interesting about all of this is nobody seems to care when they do these things to Black folk, because they've been doing these things to Black folk forever and still do them. They always racially profile us. And they always stop us without probable cause. They'll lie and say, oh, I thought I smelled weed. Oh, they'll stop and frisk you when they know they're not supposed to. Okay, they do all kinds of things. Nobody says anything, though. Please pay attention. Now, the Supreme Court's ruling puts immigrant workers back in the crosshairs of racist, unlawful enforcement by pausing the TRO, which is the temporary restraining order. The court has turned its back on our communities and the Constitution, facilitating the Trump administration's terror campaign against immigrant communities and communities of color. Okay, but we will not retreat. We will continue to defend our communities in court and on every corner, every job site, every day. This is what Pablo Alvarado, co-executive director of the National Day Laborer Organizing Network, stands with immigrant workers resisting fear and fighting for dignity. Okay, they say the ICE raids, like the attacks on DEI and the demonization of LGBTQ people, are the Trump administration's attempt to treat people like second-class citizens because of who they are, what they look like, or whom they love. This is what Chandra Batnagar, executive director of the ACLU, Foundation for Southern California, says all people are entitled to fundamental rights under our Constitution, and we will continue to defend our communities from discrimination and abuse. Now I want you all to pay attention. They said the ICE raids, like the DEI attacks and the demonization of LGBTQ people, that's Trump's administration's attempt to treat people like second-class citizens because of who they are. Well, they've always done Black people like that. Okay, they've always done Black people like that. And here's the thing. Notice that they named these other groups, but they didn't say anything about Black people. They talked about the ICE raids attacking the DEI and LGBTQ people and these immigrants. They didn't say anything about y'all. Okay, because nobody cares. Nobody cares until we start saying Black Lives Matter. Then all of a sudden people start saying all lives matter. Just ridiculous. Okay, W of Israel says, you're right, Queen. They turn the blind eye to them folks. Yes, beloved, of course they do. Clementine said, no, they are not citizens. Well, no, some of them are absolutely not. Okay, absolutely not. And I'm concerned about the citizens, not the non-citizens. Mel said, Trump is wasting our money paying for these military patrols on our people. Exactly. DJ Big Six said, didn't Kelly Price say something about DEI? Yeah, she did. She was being sarcastic and trying to clown people when she said that, basically the people that are talking trash about her, how she looks and her big feet and all that stuff, she's saying they're going to be out of a job because of DEI, but she's still going to be selling out selling out concerts. I don't know how she thinks she's still gonna be selling out concerts, boo-boo, because the people that go to her concerts are mostly Black women, and she went in on Black women. So I don't know how that's gonna work, Miss Kelly Price. Okay. Now, some of the stuff Kelly said was true, that Black women can be mean and nasty and hateful and all that. But at the end of the day, girl, that's your fan base. You went kind of hard in the paint. So all I'm saying, she maybe should have said some Black women. Okay. But anyway, I digress. Now, with that being said, let's go to what some of the people out here in the streets are saying about all of this. Okay. Like, so everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on. Where is it at? Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Supreme Court, this time concerning immigration enforcement in Southern California. NBC's Gary Grumbach joins us now. Gary, a very busy day there at the Supreme Court today. What's the court saying about this?
This just coming in the last few minutes, so forgive me for reading part of this here, Anna, but the Supreme Court has granted the Trump administration's request to pause a lower court's order, which had prevented federal law enforcement officers in California from conducting detentive stops without reasonable suspicion. This allows the Supreme Court and this allows the federal officers in California to conduct these stops now while this case moves forward. Justice Brett Kavanaugh said in part, quote, the importance of judiciary's role in all of this and limiting that, saying the judiciary does not set immigration policy or decide enforcement priorities, but says, quote, we merely ensure in justiciable cases that the executive branch acts within the confines of the Constitution and federal statutes. Sonia Sotomayor is dissenting here. We don't have a breakdown on how this went in terms of the court, but we certainly can assume this was on party lines here. But Justice Sonia Sotomayor in her dissent calls this, quote, a grave misuse of our emergency docket. We should not have to live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino, speaks Spanish, and appears to work a low-wage job rather than stand idly by while our constitutional freedoms are lost. I dissent. So this is another win for the Trump administration at the Supreme Court as it relates to immigration enforcement.
All right, you all heard it. Now let's go to this other video. This is an attorney talking about it. I believe he's a lawyer.
News. The Supreme Court, in a vote of 6-3, just overturned the Ninth Circuit injunction and cleared the way for roving immigration patrols around the entire United States. Agents can now stop people based on their skin color, what language they're speaking, or even where they work without specific individualized suspicion that they are undocumented immigrants. This case was brought by a U.S. citizen. He had brown skin. He was stopped by immigration, showed his driver's license, said he was a U.S. citizen. They asked what hospital he was born in, and he did not know. They then slammed him to the side of a wall, handcuffed him for 20 minutes until they realized, in fact, he was a U.S. citizen. This is exactly what the Fourth Amendment is supposed to protect us against: unlawful search and seizure. The lower courts found a mountain of evidence that this violated our constitutional rights. The Supreme Court seems to keep protecting Donald Trump and his administration. For nearly 50 years, the law was very clear. In U.S. v. Bergoni-Ponce, decided in 1975, the court ruled that roving patrols cannot stop people just because they suspect they're Mexican. They need something more. Now that case is apparently overturned. Now, this is not the last word on roving immigration patrols. All the Supreme Court did was stop the injunction and allowing Department of Homeland Security to continue roving patrols while this case goes through the courts, which may take 1, 2, or 3 more years. But we already know which side the Supreme Court is leaning to.
Okay, so y'all heard that. Said a person who was a citizen got hemmed up for about 20 minutes. This is what I'm talking about. And then they talk about, oh, well, when they find out to their satisfaction that you're a citizen or whatever, then they'll quickly let you go. By whose standards? Reggie says, I have empathy and sympathy, but my hands are tied. Reggie, please sit down somewhere. We're talking about your hands are tied. I know they are, beloved. Hopefully not behind your back after ICE gets a hold of you. Okay, now here's someone else talking about what's going on.
Basically gave ICE and the DHS the ability to racially profile based off your ethnicity, whether you speak Spanish, whether you speak another language, whether you work a low wage, a paying job, where you congregate. That order was stopped, and the Supreme Court just said they can continue doing that. What a fucked up day in American history. Justice Sotomayor dissented. This is a little bit of what she said, and she's exactly right. This is a green light for DHS and ICE to racially profile and discriminate. It's a fucked up. So a message to my Chicago people. I know this is going to happen in LA, but I know Chicago, ICE is ramping up this week. So be out there, be there for your community, be on alert, let people know if ICE is in the area, if they're in the neighborhoods. Just take care of each other. Fuck ICE, fuck Trump.
All right. I bet y'all looked at him and thought he was a whole Trump supporter, didn't you? See, that's why you don't profile people. Now let's talk about these Korean nationals. Okay, what happened to them? ICE raid in Georgia results in 475 arrests in support of Trump's immigration crackdown. Honey, Georgia's doing their part. Please pay attention. So hundreds of workers were arrested by masked agents Tuesday at a massive Hyundai electric vehicle manufacturing plant in southeastern Georgia, about 40 minutes west of Savannah. They say this in fact was the largest single site enforcement operation in the history of Homeland Security investigations, according to Steve Schrank, special agent in charge of HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, for Georgia and Alabama. This is what he told the media Friday morning. He said the raid was carried out by Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, HSI, and other federal agencies a week after Governor Brian Kemp announced that he'd be mobilizing the Georgia National Guard to support the president's immigration crackdown. No criminal charges have been filed in connection with the months-long ongoing investigation into alleged illegal employment practices at the plant. However, Schrank said it is something that he anticipates in the future. Now, federal authorities said a majority of the 475 individuals arrested were Korean nationals, but did not provide an exact number. Now, at the press conference in the office of the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Georgia, Schrank told reporters that some of the individuals arrested had crossed the border illegally. Some had overstayed their visas, and others had entered on non-working visas. In addition to producing Hyundai electric vehicles at the more than 2,000-acre manufacturing site, workers also produce EV batteries for a joint venture of Hyundai Motor Group and LG Energy Solution, two South Korea-based corporations. Now, the economic activities of our companies investing in the U.S. and the rights and interests of our nationals must not be unfairly violated. This is what South Korea's foreign ministry spokesperson Lee Jae-wong said in a press conference, a briefing reported by Yonhap News Agency. They say the workers arrested at the Hyundai plant Thursday were taken to Folkestone ICE Processing Center pending transfer to their facilities based on individual circumstances. Now, earlier this summer, ICE awarded the GEO Group, a private prison corporation, a nearly $50 million contract to expand the Folkestone facility from 1,100 to almost 3,000 beds. They said the Democratic Party of Georgia condemned the raid as politically motivated and designed to terrorize Georgia's immigrant communities. Now, the Trump administration, breaking its promise to target violent criminals and instead targeting hardworking people, does nothing to make Georgia stronger. It is political grandstanding at the cost of Georgia families, businesses, and livelihoods. This is what Charlie Bailey, the group's chairman, said in a statement. Last week, dozens of Atlanta residents took to the streets outside the state capitol to protest Kemp's decision to deploy 75 National Guard soldiers to support ICE with administrative tasks related to immigration enforcement. On Friday, Kemp also announced that he would be sending 300 National Guard soldiers to Washington, D.C. to support the Trump administration's operations in the national capital. The post-ICE raid in Georgia results in 475 arrests in support of Trump's immigration crackdown. All right. What y'all have to say about that, honey? What y'all think about that? 475, almost 500 people snatched up. Okay. Those people were Korean, so they say Korean nationals. Okay, so anyway, I'm about to be out of here. This broadcast is almost done, but before I go, I have a couple of things I want you all to see. Do you all remember, and I can't remember if I showed it to you, I think I did, the other day, once in the chat, if you remember this, didn't I show you all a video of a young Black man who said that he was called multiple racial slurs on his TikTok, and then how he got back at the person by, just getting all of their information? Do you all remember that? Do y'all remember that? Once in the chat if you do. I thought I showed you all the video. I'm not sure if I did. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to show that video again for those who missed it, but also the response that he did, because somebody asked him something along the lines of, why was he so hurt that the person called him the N-word? I guess they were trying to say, well, why'd you do all that? Why'd you have to ruin his life? Why'd you have to? Because he wanted to. Because he wanted to. See, sometimes you have to F around and find out. Maybe he shouldn't have been calling that Black man those nasty names. Because some people are extra petty, like me. Okay? So with that all been said, I guess he did it because that's what he wanted to do. But let's get into it. For those of you who missed it, I'm going to play it again, and then I'm going to play his response to the person who asked him that nefarious question.
Slurs over and over again in my live stream the other night for no to the white guy that called me slurs over and over again in my live stream the other night for no reason, guess what? You're going to get kicked out of the United States Navy. You know how they tell us that we should be careful what we do on social media because there could be real life consequences? Hi, my name's Real Life Consequence. I've done a thorough background check and now I know everything about you. I know what little town in Texas you're from. I know your name, your phone number, your email address. I've seen your disciplinary records. I know the names of all of your family members, including your dead mother and your daughter who turns 2 next week, and her mother who's going to have to pay for all the birthday presents this year because you came into my live stream and saw a Black man who was talking about Pokemon cards and video games, and you assumed, yeah, he's not going to do anything if I call him slurs repeatedly, even though he's trying to help me. Turns out I am going to do something. Turns out there are so many things I can do because I have all the screenshots. I have all of the recordings. I know that after you left my live stream, you went into someone else's and started talking about how much you love Jesus and God and the Bible. So maybe I should send that evidence to the church you go to in that little town we both know about. I know exactly which boat in the Navy you serve on, and I know the names of Black sailors that serve on the same boat as you. Maybe I'll send the clips to them as well. But only after I send them to the Naval Inspector General's office because I'm getting you fired. I'm getting you kicked out of the Navy. There's nothing you can do to stop me. There is no apology I will accept. There is no excuse I will listen to. There is no money you could offer me. You're getting fired. And when you're working the graveyard shift in an Amazon warehouse and your back hurts and your feet hurt and those white bright lights are beating down on you and the teenager who still has his life ahead of him walks up to you and says, "What are you doing here?" Tell him the truth. Tell him about me.
Do y'all hear that, Tony? When I tell you, that's when you know you done effed around and found out. Now, here's what he said to somebody who had the nerve to ask him, why did he get so upset about it?
Somebody in the Twitch chat said, why did you get so hurt by N-word? Genuine question. I'll give you a genuine answer. People who look like me used to get eaten in this country. People who look like me used to have parts of their bodies cut off and then fed to them. People who look like me used to get used for alligator bait in this country, and we couldn't do anything about it. So when people say it's not that deep, it's always that deep. It will always be that deep. People used to be able to say that word to me, and everybody else would just clap. And then if I said anything, I might end up in a tree. That's how it used to be. That's how it used to be. If I can make sure you get punished, I'm gonna do it. And I'm not finna apologize to nobody for that. Maybe just leave me alone next time.
You heard what he said. Maybe just leave me alone next time, because he was finding his own black business, honey. Okay, so that's one of my favorite videos ever. I absolutely love it. But here's another video that I absolutely love. Hold on. Here's another video that I absolutely love. This goes out to a Caucasian young man. And when I tell you, baby, he said it all. Now, mind you, this is something that we all know. But you know how some people don't believe until a white person says it? Yeah, okay. This is a young white guy who looks like he's about 18 years old. He actually don't even look that old. He looks like he might be 15 years old, if I'm just being honest, 15 or 16 years old. But he's sitting here making the arguments for why people who look like me deserve our reparations. I want y'all to pay attention, honey. This young man is on point. Who raised him? Because they really deserve their props for this, okay? Please pay attention. And this is further proof that people are not born racist. Racism is taught by nefarious people.
This way. White people didn't undergo 250 years of slavery and its aftermath. White people didn't suffer through racial segregation. White people didn't have a government that restricted their ability to own property, open a business, or own a bank account to grow generational wealth for their children and their children's children. White people didn't have to go through these things. So if we were just to ignore the fact that black people in America had to go through all of these things that have now systemically disadvantaged them, even today, and we were instead to say, ignore one's race and treat everybody the same, well, then all of a sudden, black people will continue to be disparaged. Imagine if you were playing a game of Monopoly with your friends, the banker, for whatever reason, really fucking hated you. He only gave you $10, gave everyone else $50, right? Then Mr. Jesus 2.0, man of equality, walks in and he says, well, I understand that you've been disadvantaged. I have the option to now give you an additional $40 to account for the fact that the banker kind of cheated you out of $40 to begin with. But instead, I'm just going to continue to treat you the same way I'm going to treat everybody else. Well, then all of a sudden you're still experiencing a disadvantage today. And when we talk about programs or legislation to say target Black Americans or target Indigenous Americans, it aims to serve to fix the consequences of systemic forms of oppression in which have disadvantaged Black Americans or Indigenous Americans historically, which has perpetuated negative consequences that exist today for Black Americans or Indigenous Americans that don't exist for white Americans. Think about it this way. White people didn't undergo 250 years of slavery and its aftermath. White people didn't suffer through racial segregation. White people didn't have a government that restricted their ability to own property, open a business, or own a bank account to grow generational wealth for their children and their children's children. White people didn't have to go through these things. So if we were just to ignore the fact that black people in America had to go through all of these things.
Now, with that all being said, I want to read to you all a comment. DJ Big Six said this young man needs to be applauded. Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. I want to read you all a comment that some Latino left him. Please pay attention. By the name of Angel Wood, said this is a type of ish that keeps people's minds in the gutter. White people came from Europe. If you know your history, you know that Europe enslaved each other all the time. They messed with Africa north of the Sahara and enslaved as well as got enslaved. The Middle East was the same BS. White people got to the Americas and most were slaves and prisoners. Only a few were noblemen. Like, sit down somewhere. Do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that? Now, see, that's a Latina saying that. And why would they be saying that? Because they want to make the argument that, oh, everybody was enslaved. All groups of people were enslaving people and many people were enslaved. So y'all don't need reparations. I want y'all to pay attention. And see, that's right now why Trump's going around here rounding them up. That's right now why Trump's going around here rounding them up and we're not out there helping them protest. That right there. Okay? That right there. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. Angelina said, I'm white and I'm not a racist. Absolutely, beloved. And thank you for that. Okay, thank you for that. All right. Now, with that all being said, I told you all I'm going to have my Caucasian friend, Pastor Dana Smith, back on here. I'm going to try to get him on here this week. Okay, so with that all being said, everybody please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast. I will see you all in the morning for your morning wake-up call. Okay. Nia said, well, over 90% of Latinos in America identify as white. Yes, they absolutely do. They absolutely do. And I guess that's why they felt that they should vote for Trump. But I see how that turned out. Okay. See how that all turned out. Okay. Anyway, I love you all to life. I hope you all get your rest tonight. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And I'll see you all in the morning with your morning wake-up call. Until next time, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hit 'em with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got